members of parliament, women representatives and county representatives to report tomorrow at 7:30 a.m.
Mandera leaders summoned to CID over fresh clashes that left 13 dead.
Tafadhalini na waomba tujadiliane, tusitafute yote leo, tuharibu ya kesho, wacha kwanza tujenge uchumi pamoja nanyi.
Teachers strike. Government now calls for dialogue as unions talk tough. As Mau Mau await their compensation, we bring you the tale of the broke millionaires of Samburu. Outgoing FC Leopards chairman Alex Magelo distances himself from the controversial Zugu deal. We begin this bulletin on a sad note, and the Inspector General of Police, David Kimayo, has summoned all political leaders from Mandera and Wajir counties, that is to record statements over the latest clashes in the two counties that have claimed 13 lives today. Governors, senators, members of parliament, and county women representatives are all expected to report to the CID headquarters by 7:30 tomorrow morning. Kimayo issued the summons blaming politicians for instigating the clashes between the Gare and the Degodia communities in Mandera and Wajir. The Inspector General spoke as the leaders from the two counties converged in Nairobi, where they came up with resolutions, among them a 10 million shilling fine to any community that perpetrates an attack. As political and religious leaders from Mandera and Wajir counties gathered at the Red Court Hotel in Nairobi over the inter-clan clashes in the two counties, on the ground, more lives were lost.
Militias believed to be from Kara community came from Ethiopia and attacked the administration police camp at a place called Chorok within Panisa division.
During the attack, 13 people, among them 2 men, 6 women and 5 children, were killed. 1 administration police officer was injured. The attack came a day after 3 people were killed in Banisa area and just 2 days after 2 people were killed in Eldas area of Wajir County.
The government will not sit and watch as two clans continue with unnecessary inter-clan killings.
The Inspector General of Police says police intelligence has now revealed who is behind the clashes.
That the clashes are politically instigated. Some are emanating from the political rivalry by politicians who are inciting their supporters from respective communities in light of some of the election petitions cases.
And that is not all.
Some of these groupings are receiving funding from their own respective leaders.
Kimayo has summoned all leaders from the two counties to clear their names over the clashes.
Governors, senators, members of parliament, women representatives and county representatives to report tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. at CID headquarters to record their respective statements.
Kimayo summoned the politicians as some of the leaders held a meeting to try and seek solutions to the inter-clan clashes.
We don't expect Inspector General of Police to play a PR exercise. We are very much concerned. That's why we have been here for 3 days. If he has evidence, let him table it. The most important thing for us today is for the senseless killing in Mandera to stop.
The mediation meeting came up with several resolutions, among them the immediate cessation of hostilities between the Gare and the Godia communities, and for both communities to embrace peace without any precondition. Any community that instigates an attack will pay a communal fine of 10 million shillings.
And we are going to form a committee which will receive that 10 million shillings. And we want that 10 million shillings to be helping some of the displaced. We don't want to leave it to the government alone.
With close to 70 people from Gare and the Godia communities dead since late last year from the inter-clan wars, all eyes will be on the leaders to see whether they will walk the talk in the latest effort to restore peace in Mandera and Wajir counties. Rita Tinina, KTN. So unfortunate to see those killings still happening, but still on matter security, tension remains high in Saboti, that's Trans Nzoia County, following the killing of 4 men by suspected robbers. The robbers are said to have killed a local businessman in his house and ordered his widow to scream for help. It is then that the robbers shot dead 3 men who had responded to the supposed distress calls. 6 other area residents suffered gunshot injuries in the ordeal. Sunday morning, residents of Saboti stormed the Saboti police post, protesting increased cases of insecurity, alleging police have not taken any action. The 6 injured are recuperating at the Kitale District Hospital, and area political leaders called for immediate investigations into a fresh wave of crime. Now, in an attempt to avert the looming teacher strike, President Uhuru Kenyatta has urged teachers to engage the government in finding an amicable solution to their demands rather than paralyzing the education sector. Well, his statement comes as teachers under their umbrella bodies, the Kenya National Union of Teachers and KOPET, plan to begin a national teacher strike this week.
Kenya. Speaking separately, the president and his deputy insisted that the teachers' union should warm up to dialogue with government in the coming days.
Tafadhalini na waomba tujadiliane, tusitafute yote leo, tuharibu ya kesho, wacha kwanza tujenge uchumi pamoja nanyi.
As government, we are prepared to talk with our teachers, seek a solution on the issues they have.
However, if the teachers' umbrella bodies, NUT and KOPET's latest statements are anything to go by, then the state should be ready to deal with what the unions call a fully fledged nationwide teachers' strike that will paralyze operations in Kenyan public schools.
Teachers will only go back to work when all of their demands have been met.
Now it's action. Those who want to see action, let them wait for the next few.
Meanwhile, the Central Organization of Trade Unions has urged the government to adhere to the International Labour Conventions in efforts to end the stalemate on teachers' pay demands. In their list, teachers are demanding the full implementation of the 1997 salary agreement, which will see their salaries and allowances hiked. They are also demanding for promotion of teachers and employment of 40,000 teachers. Betty Kyalo, KTN.
After a period of silence, former President Mwai Kibaki has emerged saying that those who lost in the last general elections should work together with the winners for the sake of development in the country. Speaking in Nairobi at the installment of the new Archbishop of the African Independent Pentecostal Church of Africa, Kibaki said the new administration should strive to take Kenya forward and improve the lives of all Kenyans.
Ukiwa tumeshashindana na umeshinda au umeshindwa, kazi imekwisha. Kwa hivyo kama umeshinda sema asante, kama umeshindwa sema asante. Na tutakuwa tunatembea Kenya yote. Na ukituona huko kule, wewe tusaidie tu, hata utunulie chai. What the hell? Kazi sasa imechukuliwa tena na mkubwa na huyu bwana Kenyatta, ambaye kama mnavyojua yeye ana ujuzi wa kutosha na anajua anachofanya. Na mimi nataka kuwaomba tafadhali, tusije tukapoteza muda sasa.
Yule mzee wetu amesema, wacha nichukue nafasi hii kuwashukuru nyinyi nyote waliniopigia kura, wasiliniyopigia kura, na niwaambie ya kwamba kazi ya kura sasa imeisha. Ni sisi zote tulikuwa tunashindana, turudiane pamoja na tufanyie wananchi wa Kenya.
It's now 2 years after the Syokimau demolitions, and those whose houses were demolished are still waiting for compensation. Now, though a forensic audit done on that Syokimau land dealings lifted the responsibility from the government and placed it on those who sold the plots, nothing has been done so far to ensure that the evictees are compensated. Sharon Momanyi with more on this story.
On the morning of 12th November 2011, it was life as usual for families here in Syokimau until a little later when the bulldozers came in, demolishing their houses. And with every stone that tumbled, so was life as they knew it.
Almost 2 years later now, and revisiting the place they once called home is a painful, heartbreaking experience for the victims, one they tried to avoid. This here was once Caroline Muasa's house.
I have 3 babies and my husband. We lived here for 1 year before the demolitions happened.
In the place where her house stood now lies this mound of debris, and there are clusters of this all over this area in what was once an upmarket estate next to the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. And Andrew Magu's house here. These two are among the more than 5,000 victims of the Syokimau evictions and house demolitions of 2011.
Niliona hiyo tractor ikikuja ikashika hiyo nyumba kama ikatoa hiyo vitu ikaweka chini. Sasa kufikiria the first people to call nilijaribu kuita mayor.
Not even the president or the prime minister or a minister has gone to talk to the affected individuals.
The Misimi-led Joint Parliamentary Committee, created soon after the demolitions to look into the issue, recommended that humanitarian assistance and alternative settlements be given to victims of the demolitions. A forensic audit conducted later lifted the responsibility of compensation from the government, but instead recommended that the Director of Public Prosecutions and the CID conduct further investigations on persons alleged to be behind the fraud, including government officials and authorities in the settlement schemes.
But what I'm telling my people, this has done, they have done this, but justice will be done. We have to go to courts.
Caroline now lives with her husband and 3 children in this small rental flat not far from her former house. A makeshift bedroom within the kitchenette for their 3 children who no longer have the luxury of space. The family now struggling with bank loans and bills and have had to move their children from a luxurious private school to a local day school.
It is so hurting when you see something you have worked for, you wanted to be a Kenyan who owned a home, and 1 minute you are brought down to nothing.
And so the questions they ask, how could they have been deemed irresponsible in being part of land deals that saw over 5,000 people confidently purchasing land through the schemes, and government providing essential services such as water and electricity without detecting fraud? Who was meant to protect them? Who is going to be held accountable? And when will justice be served? Sharon Momanyi, KTN.
Pertinent questions indeed. Well, KTN Sunday Night takes a short break. We'll be back after these messages.